Hey guys, welcome back. It's Knox, and this is part 3 of Roblox scripting. I'm gonna show you all actually in a game how to script. A little bit of a simpler script, of course. Games with anti-cheats and stuff like that will be a bit harder, and I'll probably find one and see if I can teach you all how to make one for those. So, I found a random game. Went ahead and found a random game. This game is Trident Simulator, and I went ahead and did a little bit of testing to see if it was perfect to teach you all, and I went ahead and thought to myself, hey, this isn't half bad. So I'll go ahead and make a couple of scripts for this to explain to you all how it works, just the jiffy of it. Okay, so first things first, you gotta join the game. You have to get your executor. Mine, I'll be using Synapse. Synapse is the best on the market by far. I would always use this. It has an amazing decompiler, which we will not be using today, and probably won't have to use until later, whenever you need to actually look at everything, how a game works, how a game functions. It's mainly used a lot for getting rid of client-sided anti-cheats, which you might not understand what that is, but that's for later. For now, we're going to be making a script. There is a currency in this game, gems. We want to get a lot of gems, don't we? Well, because of filtering enabled, which stops the client from communicating to the server without remote events, we can't just give ourselves gems. It's not possible anymore. But we have these little collectibles. They give us a certain amount of gems every single time you collect them. Now, nobody wants to go around collecting all these, so we're going to collect them automatically as one. So I'm going to go based off of you have Synapse. If you don't have Synapse, you're going to have to find an alternative script that we're about to use. This we're going to be using later. I will put that script in the description, this one. This is a remote spy. I will explain everything it does later after we're done with this one first. In Synapse, if you press Script Hub and open up Dark Decks, you'll see something around the likes of this. Here. It'll bring up, kind of like in Workspace. If you have Roblox Studio, come over here. It's kind of like this. There we go. This. It's pretty much the same thing, just different in some ways. You see, exploits like Synapse have full client control. They can control the client, but they can't control the server, which is stuff like server script service, server storage, stuff like that. So we can find everything here. Okay, so we want to get all the gems. Well, first we need to find out where they're located. Of course, if this was a bit more complicated and we couldn't find where the gems were kept, this is how you could easily find them. You press this button, you press click part to select, turn that on, go back to this, and click on a gem. And as you can see, it shows us where all the gems are being kept currently, which is really nice. We can automatically find where these are. We can go back and turn this off because we don't want to accidentally click to locate something else. So now we know that all the gems are kept in workspace, game.workspace.collectibles. All these gems are kept here. Now, I've already done some testing. I know exactly how this works. They don't have any anti-cheat. It's just, if you touch it, you get the gem. I've tested it. So, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get every gem, and we're going to have to change its position to ours. How are we going to do that? We're about to make a script right now. I'm going to be doing this in Studio real quick because I can zoom in and show you all better than doing it like this in Synapse. So this is how it's going to work. First things first, you need to define your player. Local player is equal to game.players.localPlayer. What this does is it just defines your player. See, let me explain this a little better. Local player is equal to game.players. So what it's doing, it's getting the game, and then dot players. Players is here. Now this is my name for the game, 1_poggers, because I went ahead and made it real quick. Dot local player. Local player just is your player, the player that you're playing on right now. It's easier than typing out your full name, unless you have a very short name and you want to type that out. But I highly suggest using local player. We're also going to have to define the character of the player. So local CHR is equal to player.character. So what this is saying is game.players.localPlayer, because it's player, that is player. So it's game.players.localPlayer.character. What is character? Well, if you come over here, character is a property. As you can see, it's my name. Now, what is this for? Well, it's getting your character model from the workspace itself. So we'd have to find it somewhere. It looks like it's kept in workspace. So here's my player model right here. This is my player. If I deleted it, I would die. And this is the player, as you can see. And it's just getting this. It's a shortcut for this. Now, game developers can change it to nil and shit like that. So you'd have to go actually find your character in here. But for now, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. So this is how this works then. This is getting your character. What we also need to do is we need to get the place that all of the collectibles, the gems, are kept. How do we do this? Well, there's two ways. You can either type it, so we'll make it a variable, local gem C is what I'm going to name it, is equal to game.workspace. Now, off topic a little bit, some games will have a certain type of anti-cheat that will constantly change the name of workspace, so you won't be able to do game.workspace. There's an extremely easy bypass for this. Game gets service workspace. This will forcefully get workspace because it's a service. So get service workspace dot and then the name of the folder, because the folder is in workspace. Collectibles. So it's referencing workspace collectibles, the folder that every gem is kept in. So to get every single model, it's simple. We're going to want to loop this, by the way, so every single gem that is spawned comes straight to us, and I'm about to explain that right now. So we can do gem C, so aka game workspace collectibles. Or first, actually, we're just going to get all the gems to come straight to us. For IV in pairs. I'll explain this in just a second. Gem C, get children, do. What this does is this pretty much makes a table for every single child of Gem C, which is this. Every child is these. These are the children of this. And this workspace is the parent of this. That's how Roblox works. So, it's getting all these. But the thing is, with models, as you can see, they don't have a position. So you can't just change the model's position to yours, or to break. So what you have to do is this. Make another for loop. It could be IV1, because we're going to be using V. V gets these. I is different. We're not going to be speaking about I right now. In pairs, V get children. Make sure this get children is typed properly. Capital G, capital C. Parentheses after this, because get children is technically considered a function. It is a function. Do. Okay, so what this is doing is getting all the children of V. What is V? All this. So it's getting every single child of every single model. So the child in every single one looks like this. So these, all these, and every single one are V1. These are mesh parts. They have positions. They have C-frames, which is kind of the same thing as a position, but a little different. We will get more into detail into that later. That's not important right now. For now, we're going to be using C-frame. C-frame is just what I've worked with a long time. It's almost the same exact thing as position. We could just consider it the position. So, you want those to come to you. Well, let's do this then. v1.cframe, so it's getting all of these in every single model. It's getting their C-frame, and we're going to be changing it. Their C-frame is equal to our character, which is kept in workspace, down here, our character, and our torso is pretty much humanoid root part. That's what we're going to be using. We're going to be changing it. We're going to be bringing it to the humanoid root part. How do we do that? Character dot humanoid root part. It's getting the humanoid root part dot C-frame. We're getting the C-frame, the position of the humanoid root part, and this we're getting the C-frame position of the parts, the gems. Okay, so that will bring it to us. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. This is pretty much done. Again, we're going to walk through this one more time. Skip this part if you already know what it is. Local player, getting the player. Our character. Local character is getting like our actual character model. Gem C is getting the folder that the gems are located in, the models of the gem. For IV in pairs, Gem C get children. We are getting every single model, so every single gem model inside of collectibles. Do, and then for IV1 in pairs, V get children. So V1 is becoming the children of every single model, aka V1 are these, just in every single one. Now, because there's nothing else in here but, oh, they keep taking them. Since there's nothing else in here but mesh parts, we can just say v1.cframe because they have C-frames. Now, if there was something else in here that didn't have a C-frame and it tried changing the C-frame of it, it would break everything. It would not bring it to you. We will discuss a fix right after this. And we get the V1 C-frame, the C-frame of all of them, and change it to our character's humanoid root parts C-frame, which is just our character. Now if we run this, it will bring every single gem straight to us. And just for a little bit of extra print, got gems. Okay, so we take this, we put it into our executor, and as you can see, you press execute, brings all the gems straight to you. And as you can see, got gems. It brought every single gem straight to you. Okay, now you don't want to constantly click this every single time because gems are going to constantly respawn. So we're going to keep this in here to get the gems that are already in the game, so they will respawn. But now we're going to make it so every time a gem is added into the folder, we get that too. So we do gem C, which is the folder, dot child added. So anytime something is added to this folder, connect function, and then M. Okay, so let me explain this. Gem C dot child added. Anytime something is added to this folder, which will be a gem because that's where they put gems. Connect function, it's just making a function, so every time something's added, something happens here. So, and then you have to put a parentheses after this, function. Let me see what I did wrong here. I saw near end. Oh, you have to take away this. There you go. F. Okay. F is what is added. So every time it's added, something is added. Whatever has been added to this is F. Every time. So we do for IV in pairs. Now this is where it gets a little different. F. So whatever's added. Get descendants. Do. So what does this do? Sorry, I should be doing this actually in here so you can see better. There we go, I'm sorry. What does this do? Get descendants. I've never heard of that before. It will instead, wherever you call it, so I called it in the gym model, it will get everything inside of the gym. Now this is where you could use get children. It doesn't matter. Because if you got the children of it, it would just get these. You could change the name or the C frame of these and you'd get it all. But I'm doing something a little more complicated because I want you all to understand how to not error this out if something else has something that is not, that does not have a C frame. So if we got the descendants of one gym model, as you can see, inside of it, it would get these two. So this is called a touch interest. It does not have a C frame. That's a problem. So what we need to do is we can do one of two things. We can either, one, make sure that what we are changing the C frame of has a C frame. So if it is a mesh part, then we can bring it to us. Or we can say if the item, if the item does not have a C frame, then we don't include it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure it's a C frame. So, simple. I'll show you how now. This is an if statement. I really should have explained this. Oh shit, I forgot. An if statement. It's a condition. If this is equal to that, or let's say if 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, right? Because it is, then this happens. It's a condition. If this is true, then, so if true, which means it will run. If false, then it will run. It won't run because it's false. Or if it is false, then it'll run. So that's kind of a short explanation. So how do we do this? Simple. If V is a mesh part, then explain. I got it. Don't worry. V is every single thing inside of the gym model. And since, I forgot this doesn't have a C frame. This is a weld constraint, okay? That's a weld constraint. It has the same view, but it is not a mesh part class name. The class name is a mesh part. So it's checking if it is a mesh part. These two are mesh parts. They have C frames. So if it is a mesh part, it's checking if it is. V is a mesh part. Then v.cframe. So we can just copy this pretty much and change v1 to just v. What this will do now is every time one is added, it will teleport it straight to us. Let's put this in, and just in case there are no errors, we'll check. Automatic. So it brought them automatically, and it looks like there might be an error. No errors. Looks like there might be something a little wrong. I might have did something wrong here. We'll do get children instead. Get children, because we already know that the children of these all have C frames. So gym C, child added, we can take out this if statement, because we don't need it now, because we know that every single one does have one. So we don't need to loop this either, because every time a child is added, it will TP to us. It's pretty much looping for us. Okay, so let's see if it works. Let's make sure it's adding. So print found added. Okay, let's make sure it's finding him. It's finding them. Okay, it is, but for some reason it's not teleporting them to us. So let's figure out why. This is where print comes in real handy. We can find out what's going on, what's breaking. Print got children, so it's getting the children. Print changed position. We're gonna make sure all this works real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rejoin actually, so it doesn't constantly print things that I don't need printed. And we're gonna see where it broke. This is where it comes in handy. Okay, it's already injected. Okay, get this out. It's already found the added child, so we can take that out. We know this works. Get children to spell correctly. It'll tell us if it got the children or not. See, it might not be getting the children here. Let's see if something's added. It is added. So for IV in pairs, F get children do. So instead, let's make this like V2. Just in case it's trying to get it from here, which it shouldn't be. Let's see. Nope, it's still not getting the children. Okay, so what we will do instead, since this is not working for some reason, it should be working. Something is definitely wrong here. What we're going to do instead is we're just going to get the children of every single thing in Gym C again. So we'll copy this part here. Wait, hold on. That's my fault. Wait. We weren't... Okay, yeah, it still doesn't work. It's not getting the children. See? For I, V2 in pairs F, get children, do, so it's not getting the children. Perfect. That's what we need to know. So we can pretty much just copy this and run it every single time something is added. Which means we can actually take this out to prevent a little bit less lag. So every time something's added, it will get every single one, or it should. Let's see. Pick one up. As you can see, that worked. Yep. And none of them are spawning. It's getting every single one every time something's added. Perfect. This isn't the best way to do it. Trust me, it definitely isn't. But it is working. It is an effective way. I'm going to execute dark text again. And we're going to work on this game a bit more. Okay, so this is the script to get everything. And it works. It works great. There's that. But now we need another. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to name this script real quick. We're going to rename this to get gyms real quick, just so I know where it is. And I'm going to make another script in here so we can keep that one safe. We can keep that one saved. Now what we want to do is there's tridents. Now what do tridents do? Well, you activate it and you get some sort of trident currency that I don't know what it is. You go to sell and it will give you coins. Well, what if I want this to automatically do it for me? Perfect. We can do that. But I'm going to be doing that in the next video because this one's getting a bit long. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope this was helpful. And talk to you later.